Hi, it's Father Taylor, and this is kind of a very appropriate early October, October 8th. And here is your weekly eBlast. If you are not able to be in church Sunday or catch the sermon on Zoom, um, some discussion obviously about what's God saying to us. But I mentioned something in the sermon that resonated with some people, and so I just want to make sure that you hear that too. Right now, as a church group and as just people in general, uh, we're in a time where COVID has had more effect on us than sometimes we acknowledge. Um, Going through this time of COVID doesn't mean that you have only had to suffer if you've gotten COVID. But the fact of it is all the elements of what's going on in the way it's controlled us and that we have felt a bit helpless how to do anything to really change our situation has left a lot of us feeling anxious. And the other side of the anxiety coin is depressed. And the third piece is that we grieve. We grieve things that we thought we could do or thought we were going to do and that we lost. So example, some kids thought they were having a big high school graduation. Well, that first year of COVID, we didn't. And so people lost out on some events. We wanted to have a big wedding. We changed that to a small family wedding. So there are certain kinds of things that we've lost opportunities, lost time with family members. But we also grieve the loss of the things that we remember that were so important to us that have subsequently changed and that may not be there, at least in the way that we remember. For church people, a lot of what that means is that we grieve the loss of church as we picture it in our memory. We grieve the loss of church as the way it was. And for those of us here in a Trinity, if you've been here for a long time, you may miss, for instance, the days when there were two very large services and an early small one. Or you missed when we had certain kinds of events and there were certain people and certain amount of kids. There's a way the church was, and perhaps that church environment is where you found real faith. And in the midst of that, we may miss the days when we were coming to know Jesus through Alpha or Faith Alive in a small group. We miss those days. We miss that feeling of being held together, even throughout the week by what we did on Sunday and in small groups. And that's all changed. Trinity's been going through some major changes really since 2010 in very significant ways that all of us were not always aware of. But certainly by the time we got to COVID in 2020, everything has accelerated that pace of change. And so again, it makes us feel anxious when we used to come to church to feel secure, and it makes us feel depressed when we once had a memory of church that made us always feel uplifted. And we grieve the loss of those days, perhaps some people, perhaps a feeling, a certain closeness with God. And so we go through the steps of grief. So as a whole church, we've been going through that. And God is here to minister to us in that moment. So I only bring that up because in the past week, I was involved with 3 different groups. And every group acknowledged that process of the feeling of anxiety, some depression, and grief of loss. Jesus is still present in it all. There are some people who have had the advantage of being involved in small groups, and particularly in prayer groups, some of them just online with our 8.8. Those people have found that although things have certainly been harder, that they still feel connected. And many of those people express a sense that they believe that God is doing something, that something new is actually emerging. And a lot of that has been expressed in words which I would summarize as the beginning of mission. So I just reaching out to all of you today to remind you that we have to acknowledge as a group where we are, how we really feel about these things. There's been all these studies that have been done that show that humans, make most of their decisions not on the basis of information and intellect, but on the basis of their feelings. And we certainly know how that can be a good thing, and that can be not as good thing. So just acknowledge that Christ is present with us even now in the midst of COVID, and things are new and different. And we need to love one another and support one another and think about the overall spiritual and health. If you don't have spiritual health, you don't have health. And so we want to be able to say, how can we support spiritual health and growth? So that's just a general comment about where we are as a community, So we're reaching out and we're trying to get in touch with that and trying to say, all right, Lord, here we are. We need you. We need your Holy Spirit at this point. There's no program, there's no sudden snap of the fingers, and even a vaccine can't make all that go away. But the Holy Spirit can come and lead us in a way where we are reconnected to God. So probably be saying some more about that week to week, but I just want to get it out there that we're talking about that, and and that's where we are with things right now. All right, what do we got coming up this weekend? So today is Friday. I just want to invite you to come tomorrow. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we are having our pet blessing. Now, if you have a pet, and when I say even smaller livestock, come on down at 4 o'clock. We're going to have a little gathering of the animals. We have a little service we're going to do. And we've invited the whole community. We've invited on Facebook. So people in Simsbury and Granby are invited. We're inviting people in Terriffill. We would love to have everybody come together. We love our pets, and it's somewhat to honor St. Francis and the one Jesus who was through whom all things were created. And it's also to get our community together and just to invite people to come in for a little bit for a fun time. My guess is it's not a very long thing. It's outdoors. It's pretty safe in terms of COVID. So bring your pets and bring that that's this Saturday at 4 o'clock. The following week, what I want to tell you about is I need some help. Our church program, this program needs some help for people who are willing to gather together and to create using your car trunk as a trick or treat stand. This is, we used to go door to door. Now people go into large gatherings of parked cars. The trunks are open. And this is all decorated to show Halloween kind of themes. And in there, we have lots of candy. We would like some donations of candy, to be able to share. But my guess is the easiest thing would be if you bought your own bags of candy, decorated your trunk. So we'd like to have at least 15 cars so the kids come by, they can go car to car, and maybe we'll get some music playing outdoors just for the fun of it. This is not this week, this is the following week, the 16th. And that starts at 5 o'clock. So call Manda if you'd like to participate. Send her a text, send her an email, but say, hey, I'm in. If you need more details, she can fill you in on that. We did this a couple of years ago. It was a lot of fun. Some people were very creative. Kathy Oakes, I remember, I guess, she's a graphic artist, so maybe she's got some skills in this area. But we decorate some trunks. That was the first year we kind of revived this for the town. And the year before it rained, we had 60 some kids come. The whole kind of much of the town showed up. It was very cool. So we're doing that, as a town kind of gathering event. We really see that Trinity Church is the center of the town, and we would like to make Jesus the actual center of life for all people. So that's coming up on the following week. So let her know if you'd like to be involved. Also to remind you that on Tuesday at 11 o'clock, there is a burial service, the rite of Christian burial for Ron Hall Sr. And you remember Ron and his wife, and that's Jerry LaValle's dad. And so his burial will be on Tuesday at the church. Indoors, we are only able to do family. So immediate family is coming. They already have people that will fill up as many people as we can put in the church. But you can come and be outside and frame the outside for them and show them your support as they come back out of the church and do the burial in the burial garden up back. So that's on Tuesday. Check for calling hours, which are held at the Carmen in Windsor. So there are calling out hours. Um, I know that they end at 6:30. There's a separate piece that's going to go on. So I think the calling hours are like 5 to 6:30. But check your actual text, in this eBlast for that. All right. So continue to hold out your trust in the Lord. Acknowledge how hard things have been. Uh, Deal with ongoing feelings of resentment where you can keep your relationships straight with people. Very important at this time. And we'll trust in the Lord and pray for the outpouring of the Holy Spirit for us and through us to all of Simsbury. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow at the Pet Blessing. Okay, so bye for now.